I'll tell you after.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming today and joining us for this really urgent video that we decided just kind of last minute to bring in for you guys. The reason being is because we have a lot of people that are contacting us that are asking us about these ascension symptoms, these feminine and masculine energies that are making things confusing for the twin flame or your soulmate. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today and kind of give you guys an idea about what are these ascension symptoms and what are we gaining awareness into, and how are we going to value ourselves through this ascension, because there is a big test right now for us to rise up to this frequency. You know, last year we were in the third and fourth dimensional systems. Now we're in the fifth dimensional system, and this energy is a lot different. It doesn't speak any words in regards towards the third and fourth energies, just because the third dimension was all about thoughts and how we resolve those thoughts, a lot of past life stuff that we had to do. Fourth dimension, same kind of thing, lots of drama, lots of emotions, lots of lifting and resolving. Right. And so once we move into the fifth dimension, things kind of figure themselves out. It's not this, wow, let's think this through and let's investigate this. The fifth dimension asks you to trust. It asks you to let go and surrender to a greater life than what you could even imagine. And so some of us are getting that life and it's showing up. And once it shows up, we're like, what is this? I thought being with my twin flame or my soulmate was going to be a piece of cake, and I was going to ride off into the sunset and be super happy with them. And just the opposite is happening. So Jalen and I are going to talk to you guys today a little bit about what is this and what to expect, okay? So our first thing that we're going to talk about is getting a little bit of sound healing here for just a moment, and then we're going to go right into this ascension symptom. So should I do the violet flame?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so let's go ahead and put our heels flat to the ground. Get in a setting position, and as I start to strum this beautiful bowl, I want you to take breaths in. I want you to allow yourself to settle and really calm the system. Take in the sound, take in the energy, and allow it to clear out and resolve some of the things that need resolution in your life, in your lineage, in your soul line. And so go ahead and close our eyes and take in the sound.
That's really nice. Thank you, Dawn. So now that the space has been cleared, let's talk. Let's communicate about some of these ascension symptoms that are going on. So right now you might be feeling a lot of tension in whatever way, shape, or form it takes in your life. There's a lot of momentum that's kind of building up and like maybe hitting this wall. Whether that's in your relationships or your job or even just your plans moving forward, know that the wall only exists in your mind, and it's because it's actually a mirror that's right up against your face that you get to look at. So even in numerology today, it's actually 7/14.
Oh, wow.
On the 14th. So let's talk about that a little bit. The significance of 1 is that direct line, right, from heaven straight into the body, from the crown chakra all the way through the root. Think about that straight line, okay? So everything is being channeled through that, dropping in. And then the energy of 4 is all about building. It's about that structural, foundational work, guys. It's a square. It's work, okay?
Okay.
And that's what we have to understand. Like just today, that's, everything that we're trying to bring in through this column has to go through, is it logical? Does it work? Is it practical? It's a masculine energy, right? So when we talk about that, think about maybe what might have been triggering today, as far as, maybe it was even just you had a headache. Like I had a headache all day yesterday, couldn't get rid of it for the life of me. That's an Ascension symptom. Feeling restless or actually even fatigued. You could swing either way on those.
Or confused.
That's
been another thing that people have been saying.
Yeah.
I'm so confused about what I should do.
Right.
Like what direction should I go? I was very clear last week,
Yeah.
but
I
this
knew
week
exactly
is a
what was
different
up.
thing, right? And
Exactly.
that's what people are talking about. And I think is it surrounding the 444s?
I would say there would probably be a lot to say about that, as far as like giving that context. Yeah.
Okay.
So 4 is, again, it's just gonna be the work, you guys. It's just the work.
On the outside or on the inside?
On the inside. That's why nothing's really coming up in our outer spheres right now.
Oh, that's
As
the
far as,
stagnation.
right, as
Okay.
that manifestation goes, guys, we're still doing the deep work inside, and it's not as fun because we thought that everything was over and that we were hunky-dory and we were blasting forward, but these days are still going to come up, and Jupiter just went into retrograde, right?
Till
So,
August 11th.
4 months.
Yep.
So Jupiter teaches us how to expand and grow bigger, and what do we want to bring in, but also you have to understand, like, what's too heavy to carry forward into August. Like, think of that, guys. August is Leo season. It's of the heart. It's brave. It's forward thinking.
Courageous.
So what will not fit between now and then? And today is definitely a portal of that.
Yeah. Well, and also I think with that being said, I'm going to go into a little bit about the symptoms of Ascension because I've been having people that I love dearly that would have never told me I'm suicidal or I've been thinking about taking my life, actually having those conversations with me, which feels really awkward because some of these people have been very like a stable person in my life. And for them to come to me and say, hey, I'm just not I'm not stable right now. I don't feel complete. I don't feel whole, but I'm doing the work. Like, what's my problem? And so I would say that the first sign of that is being aware of that, right?
Absolutely.
Just gaining any type of awareness right now, maybe seeing a scenario that possibly looks like the past, coming up into a future or a present relationship, and you're starting to see like, wow, this is what I did in my last one. I'm not doing that in this one, but it's harder. So we really have to identify for ourselves a few things that we should be okay with, and a couple of those things is just going with the flow. When you feel the awkwardness, when you're feeling uncomfortable, when you're confused, when you're calling your girlfriend and like, hey, something's going on, but I don't know what it is. Know that those might very well be, like you said, internalizing energy doing its work, and
lessons.
That's what these are. These are lessons. And so even if you guys are out there with your twin flame and you're having issues or you're struggling a little bit much, or maybe you're gaining some insight and awareness into the relationship that you have right now, take it in stride. Don't be getting too heady in this energy. Know that this is getting resolved. Jalen said, we're doing the work inside. You know, this isn't an outside job. This is an inside job. And so really, really paying attention to ourselves and allowing ourselves to move with the rhythms of the world, you know, with the vibrations of your own energy systems. Allow yourselves to just fall into that and be okay with it. You know, I have a bunch of mentors, and one of the biggest things that they always tell me is that if you want something really bad, you kind of have to trust that it's going to show up, right? Because if you don't give any ounce of trust, that might never come to fruition, right? So we have to see that these signs of awakening are actually delegating what is in our highest and best for ourselves and for everyone around us.
Because we're not going to settle anymore.
No, we're not settling anymore.
No, there's no more of that energy, and like all of this is breaking patterns, right?
It is.
So
breaking patterns, resolving a lot of energy from the past, moving into maybe some of your lineage stuff is getting resolved. And with that being said, right now, it seems like the masculine energies are struggling. And it seems like all the women are really holding their own and standing in their power. Do you know anything about that, Jalen?
Yeah.
Can you speak for that?
Let's talk about it, guys. Part of this tension that we're feeling is, and this was just like channeled to us as we were preparing for this video, that the masculine and the divine feminine, the divine masculine, divine feminine, have switched roles right now. So it's an interesting time. So you'll notice that all of your female counterparts, friends, sisters, whomever, they're really strong and they're real fired up right now. There's a lot of movement internally because we already did the work. And I'm not saying that, you know, when I say like divine masculine, divine feminine, like those energies both exist within us, but it's a matter of, you know, what you identify as a divine masculine or a divine feminine, right? So when I say that, please just like understand that I'm using it loosely. So the divine feminine has done the work. She's gone into those deep, dark places and healed it, like pulled all of the icky stuff up and out, laid it all out, and was like, this is a lot. What do I do with all this? And then you know what she did? She went to freaking work and she cleared house. So if that resonates with you, own it. Know that you have been there, you've been through it, and those lessons, those patterns have already been broken in the fifth dimensional world. They're making their way into our DNA, right?
Yeah.
So now guess whose turn it is? It's the masculine's turn. They are very deep in their emotional bodies right now. And it is beautiful that they get to learn this, especially the ones that have been shying away from their emotional bodies for most of their life, right?
Absolutely.
Shying away from their wounds, their patterning, whatever it might be, whatever shadow is coming up. The divine masculine is now sitting in that space that the divine feminine has been in for a while. And now what I mean by reversal of roles is that now the feminine, like all she wants to do is just flow and like, you know,
be in her emotions.
Yeah, just be watery, be emotional, right? And she's being called to hold the container for the masculine to get in that space of flow, to get into that emotional body.
And do the work.
It's not just like they're just going to like pour it all out and become a blob, right? No, the divine masculine wants structure. It wants that four energy. It wants all of this structure and logical thinking, right? So they are floundering right now. So if your divine masculine is just kind of going a little crazy right now,
hold space.
And
be
this is what we're
compassionate.
learning. We're learning how to be a container because usually we're the ones inside flowing. And it's a beautiful reversal because we have to learn through duality. That's something else we wanted to talk about, was just this ascension is moving from duality, and that's where this tension is, into oneness, into unity, right?
Wholeness.
Right. And this duality switch is very jarring for a lot of people that may have never known how to like hold someone, or the masculine may never have, like been willing to go into those deep dark places and really work with that energy. So know that we're reversing roles right now, and that's why there's a lot of tension.
Well, and that's why, if any of you guys out there have girlfriends that are calling you and saying, I think my boyfriend just got in touch with his emotional systems, like for the very first time ever, and he's in the other room crying. So what should I do about that? You should hold space for him. You should love him. You should hold him. You should be compassionate and loving and kind. Jalen and I are the biggest, firmest believers of throwing love out there. And if you have the ability to love someone in that space and they are, breaking down, or you think they're having a little nervous breakdown or a big nervous breakdown.
Yeah, visible or like external or internal, and some men that, sorry to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
When some people, I'm just going to say people in general, but particularly a masculine energy, they don't know how to identify with emotion, the vast, massive spectrum of emotion. So it might come out as anger, it might come out as irritation, it might come out as restlessness, passion, whatever it might be. It might even be lustful, and you're like, okay, this is like a little bit much. So just know that like what they're working through might not show up as like crying in the other room. It might come up as like, starting a fist fight, God forbid, or,
or some like, kind of tension, or some type of chaotic behavior, I would say, even if it's on a mild spectrum. I think that we really need to pay attention. I mean, this is the time for us to move into ascension. And the more we attach to this awareness and being in observation and being, because that's the part right now that everybody's like, no, I want to do stuff because I have all this energy internalizing. Well, why do you guys think that you're internalizing so much energy? Because you're kind of doing the work internally. So that's why you're feeling that feeling, and I just want you guys to know that you're okay, that everything is just fine. It's okay, guys, if you're out there and you're crying and you're like, I don't know why I'm crying. I never cried. I'm a guy. Well, you know what? We're coming into a space and time now where we're being called to create a sacred space around the masculine energies. We've been asking them to support us emotionally in a sensitive way, but then we've been suppressing them. So I just want to let you guys know that suppression time is over. Just like the Me Too thing is up, well, the suppression in feelings and emotions from you guys out there that are beautiful in your strengths of emotion, please let them shine. Please honor them. Please support yourself and know that there's a reason that you're so soft. Maybe you need to find a woman that is going to be sensitive and soft to your needs. And that's okay, ladies. You can be the powerhouse and have that man where you do care and comfort him.
Absolutely.
Because I think we're moving into a time where we're creating things for each other. This isn't just, I'm going to be in a relationship with you and you're just going to do everything for me and I'm going to do nothing for you. And I think that was that 3D energy that really didn't allow us to communicate clearly with our partners. It didn't allow us to resolve conflicts because we were resolving our own conflicts. How can we resolve our own and someone else's at the same time? And that's why a lot of relationships last year got pulled away mysteriously, or, people left people for absolutely no reason, is because this ascension was actually pulling our heartstrings to allow us to up our frequency, up our vibration, so that we can match another person on that same vibrational system.
Everything you've been calling in.
Everything you want, here you go.
And let's talk a little bit about like what kind of context the masculine in particular is healing right now.
I would say that they're going deep in and healing their lineage. I think that all the men going back in time, that they're all healing these men that suffered in the past. And because they were emotional, because we suppressed them, because we didn't give them a sacred space to be vulnerable or soft or sensitive, that now these guys are going to bat for what happened in the past.
Not even them, it's just their lineages, it's their culture, it's their family line.
Right.
That they're all healing right now. And that's a heavy load. So this is why we like really stress like holding compassion for the divine masculine right now, because the divine feminine has been there. We know it. We know that pain.
We know how to introduce that suffering into our lives every day too.
Right.
You know.
So it's a call to do what we do best. And that's compassion, and that's love. And that's nurture, and understand that like even if someone did you dirty, like you can still find it in your heart and in your soul to love them and hold compassion, even if that comes with a boundary. So that's also really important. Always hold your boundaries. If it doesn't feel right to you to be in communication with that person, or to let them in, or to even like just have them in your energy space, like if that doesn't feel right to you, then you always get that choice. And so you don't have to enable any of these men in victimhood, or whatever they choose to do with this. So it's almost like a leverage, right? It's like you can hold this space for your divine masculine without enabling them to continue these patterns. And it's time for the feminine to find that strength and that boundary, and harness her own masculine energy within herself. That is like, this is where the bullshit stops.
Right.
But what makes it different is that we can do it in the most loving, compassionate, caring way known to the universe, right? We are the divine feminine.
And know that the fifth dimensional energy is unconditional love. And that's why there's so much confusion, because we've been living in a world of hate where we can't support each other in love. And so now that there's all this love rushing in, it's like, oh my gosh, what is it? Wow, we just got a taste of something that we've been wanting our whole entire existence, but now it's here and I don't want it.
I don't know about it.
Yeah. So it's awkward. It feels awkward, and we do have lots of work to do, male and females. But there's a greater story here for ourselves that we're not seeing too. And outside of the ascension, outside of the polarity, the duality, the enlightenment, all of those things exist a pure soul. Okay, that soul needs to be heightened. Think about the vibration of the universe. They call us stars. They say that we're made of 1 million stars. How do stars stay up in the ethers? It's got to have a super high vibration to stay up there.
Yep.
So you're moving yourself in a higher state of frequency by allowing the universe and trusting the universe and knowing that it's got your back, that it's on your side, that some of the things that don't feel good are good, and that it's for your benefit. And I know there's some people out there like, no, she has no idea what I'm going through.
We do.
We do.
We know.
We get it. We just want you to be in a space where you can glide through this and you can ascend and you can get to that vibrational system to match that counterpart, so that we can all lift humanity, because that's what this is. How do I gain more strength and put more unconditional love in more avenues of my life. Because that's the greater picture here. We're just shocked because 5-dimensional energy is so full of love, and God forbid we've had so much love.
So and what's part of that? There's forgiveness is a part of that.
Absolutely.
And to hold that is such a blessing. And to hold compassion and to hold forgiveness and unconditional love in your heart amidst whatever you're going through, amidst whatever wrongs have been done to you, that is powerful medicine. Wow. That is powerful medicine, and that puts you in your queen's freaking throne. Okay. So that's what the Empress is, right? It's the vastness of this love of the 5-dimensional reality that we're moving into.
Well, and I also want to speak a little bit about the feminine energy and how there's all these women right now that are really standing in their truth and their power. And it's time, just like Jalen said earlier in the video, that we've been doing the work. We've been attaching to our emotional systems, and we've been moving the energy. And now that this masculine energy is living in a trivial state of mind, it's good that we're standing in our power, because we're holding the roof up right now. We are holding the roof up. And thank goodness that we are, because here's the thing about it. We can either stand together or fall apart. And I would prefer to stand together in unity, in unconditional love, in a beautiful higher vibration of this 5th-dimensional energy that speaks truth, authenticity, and everything you've ever wanted. So don't resist it. Force creates resistance. And if you want all these wonderful things to come into your life and you want to meet that significant other, well, you got to do the work. Nothing comes for free in this life. And even in the universal state of mind, it's all about what are you going to learn in this life? What is it that you're going to give back to humanity? How are you going to leave a little mark behind that said you did something great while you were here? Or whose life did you change with your love? Because that's the bigger question here, right?
Yep. So in the end, all that matters is how frequently you chose love over fear.
Absolutely.
How much you gave and how much you were able to let yourself receive.
That's beautiful, Jalen. Yeah. Know that every time you go into a state of fear, that everything you want, your desires, are on the other side of that fear. And that's a real thing. So
we'll keep preaching that.
We will. So thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for opening your mind and your hearts and allowing yourself to transcend and move into this beautiful higher state of consciousness so that you can help humanity. And just to let you guys know, there is heaven on earth. Okay, that's a real thing. But you have to be able to receive it, and you've got to be in a place where you're holding space for it. Because you can't just sit there and go, oh, I just want heaven on earth, and it's just going to show up. You really have to connect that feeling with your heart. And then it comes right in. So
that's beautiful. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today, spending your
Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening.
Every Sunday evening. I know that there's probably other things you could be watching or engaging with, and we're just super, super grateful to have you guys here, and it means the world to us. So thank you. And if this resonated with you, please, send a comment or share this with someone you think might find it very useful. Maybe someone is hurting and needs a little bit of a reminder. So thank you so much for your time and presence today, and namaste.
Namaste. Also, go to celestialsisters.com for more information about our next few tour dates. We're going on tour soon, so look for us. Namaste.
All right. Take care, everybody. Should be ended. We'll see.